We have been so honored and lucky to have what we believe to be the best fans in the world.
But that's where we started galvanizing this fan base of, you never know what you're going to get from us. We're going to keep you on your toes. I think that keeps life exciting. And if your favorite band can't be exciting, then what can be?
It's been 7 years since Avenged last recorded album, The Stage, and 5 years since any new music from the band, their last song being Mad Hatter for Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Things have been radio silent in terms of new music from the band. However, that would all change on March 13th of this year when the band would post cryptic images on their pages teasing an announcement for the next day. Then, on March 14th, the hiatus of new music ended with the release of Nobody, their single off their newly announced album Life is But a Dream, releasing June 2nd. There was a ton of mixed feedback to Nobody, and even We Love You, the single following after, and the album as a whole, surprisingly, is no different. You will not find one consistent opinion on this album. Some calling this the worst album they've ever made, Avenged worst, some calling it Avenged best. This is what music needs right now. Me personally, as a massive Avenged Sevenfold fan, I was foaming at the mouth of the announcement of a new album. I was posting it every single day in hype and anticipation of the album. And a month later, I come to you now with my full review of the album. I really wanted to sit with it and give it its time to breathe and marinate in my mind and just take it in as a piece of art. Is this Avenged best? Was it worth the 7-year wait for me? Did I even like it? Well, if you read the title, to put it simply, yes, it's a masterpiece. It's a masterpiece in thought, it's a masterpiece in sound, and it is a masterpiece in how it is made. Life is But a Dream contains 11 tracks and clocks in 53 minutes and uses each minute to its fullest. There's so much to break down in this album, so much to digest, and that's why, like I said, it took me so long. I wanted to wake up to the album in the morning, cook it to breakfast, take it on the Ferris wheel, and have a nice walk in the park with it. But with all that being said, let's get into it. Firstly, I just want to talk about the phenomenal, out of this world art for the album. As you can see, you have the vinyl of it. The art was made by phenomenal artist Wes Lang, and they could not have chose a more perfect person for the task of creating the artwork for this era. The Life is But a Dream art is just so fantastic, so complex. There's so many levels to each piece. I mean, look, I had to get the deluxe edition of this vinyl because, dude, how can you look at this and not be in amazement? Look at that. This is insane. The next one I'm gonna show you is probably my favorite piece from the era. I love this piece so much. Matt said this is just like a representation of us being chained by our thoughts and just reminding us to be free from them. We're not our thoughts, you know? Oh my gosh. This is like probably my most prized possession next to the Meteor box set. I love Linkin Park. But back to Avenged Sevenfold. The art is just so personal and adds so much to the lore of this already complex album, which we're definitely gonna get into later on. There's even taglines that go with the pieces. If you go to Wes Lang's page, the cover art for Life is But a Dream has the tagline. It has "They Wouldn't Understand" on it. And I just think that it's just adds so much to an already complex piece. I remember when I first saw the cover art when Nobody dropped and my jaw hit the floor. And it's been a constant draw hitting the floor, a reaction to every art piece I've seen. Beautiful pieces, and it just adds so much personality and flair. This record sounds crazy and is just so unique in the wacky sound effects, the transitions, and all the genre bending things in here. A song that comes to mind is Beautiful Morning, which starts out with this grunge Alice in Chains type feel and then transitions into this jazzy Beach Boy section. It shouldn't work. It really shouldn't. Kind of is a mess, but it flows so well. The way the band transitioned into that part of the song is just beautiful. The guitar serves as an anchoring point from the hook to this section, and it leads to such a smooth transition. There's so many sonic influences on this album as well that you just will spend hours just discovering. You have Daft Punk, Frank Sinatra, Queen, System of a Down a bit. It's like a big musical Easter egg hunt to see where these guys have pulled from. I've listened to this album front to back at least 8 times, genuinely. I know people like to over-exaggerate, like, oh, I've watched this 100 times, blah, blah, blah. Me, genuinely, I'm so excited that my brain is melting in my skull right now. But yes, front to back, I've genuinely listened to this album at least 8 times. So I've still not even discovered all of the nuances in the sound, in the lyrics, what they're trying to convey. On top of those sound bites, the band here is on their A game. That hiatus was definitely needed because everyone in the band on this album sounds so freaking good. Zachy and Sin, man, are doing these things with the guitars on this album that are so crazy and out there and weird, and it sounds like it's a sample, but no, they're just playing footsie with the different pedals and all of that. Mattel, for example, which by the way is the best song off this album and is a top 5 Avenged Sevenfold song. I don't care what anyone says. I listen to that song at least twice per day, and I already listen to it a lot on release day. But Mattel, 10 out of 10. I can't wait to hear that song when they perform live this September for me from where I'm at. But there's this part where Zachy and Sin are playing, and it's dual leads, but it's dual synths instead, and it's just so really, really cool. It sounds like something that'll come out of a movie. Nobody, that whole is a riff. It's not a Kanye sample. It's not from a sound effect library. It's genuinely Sin and Zachy just going crazy, creating that. So, how do you come up with this? You're a madman. You know, and speaking of madmen, Johnny. Oh my God, is Johnny good on this album? This is some of his best bass work, period. He's adding so much personality, life, and energy just through those epic-ass bass tones. Metellin and Easier, I love what he does on Easier. It goes, I'm not good at that. I'm musically illiterate for now, taking classes. But he's playing this bass part on Mattel that's super heavy, and then Easier, it kind of gives off like a Kanye hip-hop feel. I don't know how to explain a lot of this album. The best way I can describe this album is a weird masterpiece because there's so much things going on here sonically that are very weird, and just hearing Johnny play on stage and playing here, it's just so awesome to see him add so much life to this album. And can't forget the GOAT, Brooks Wackerman. I loved his drumming on the stage. I genuinely thought that was going to be his peak. Like, you can't get better than that. I was gladly proven wrong, as this is some of Brooks' best work in his career. I felt every hit, every kick in my soul, in my bones. Brooks was right there drumming right next to me. He did such a great job. Everyone did a great job. And that leads me to talk about the lead vocalist, the front man, the man with the voice of a million angels, M. Shadows. Matt. Oh my God. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I was extremely nervous what new music from Avenged Sevenfold was gonna sound like, what Matt was gonna sound like, and what he was hoping to accomplish with this. After hearing about the vocal surgery and a lot of lackluster vocal performances from him in 2018, I was shaking in my boots. I was like, no, please. Avenged Sevenfold is my favorite band. What is it going to sound like? Can he scream live? Can he do this? I was saying stuff like Matt can't scream anymore, which thankfully from watching Tracks, the podcast that they do, I know that that's not true. And if you've been seeing him play live recently, he could scream. But I was believing all of that, and I had all these opinions in my head. Then nobody came out, and then people were like ripping his voice apart. And even though I really like what he did with Nobody, not his best vocal performance on the album, that obviously goes to Death and Cosmic, but I could understand where they were coming from. It's a vocal choice, of course. Everything on this album is purposeful. From the sound to Matt's choice of lyrics to this choice of singing on this album, it's all an artistic choice. And I was like, okay, I get it. Then We Love You came out. I was like, oh, there we go, baby. That's the sauce. All my fears had dropped after that point. And then listening to the full album, Matt, this is some of his best vocal performances ever. This is the most unique and most diverse we've ever heard Matt as a front man. He goes from screaming with those brutal screams. Oh my God, bro. I'm so glad the screams are back, man. I really missed them. That brutal one on my toe where he's like, burn! I can't do it. Hearing Johnny do it is crazy, but when Matt does it on this album, just hearing him scream, he screams, like, oh my God, my brain is like, I'm freaking out like a little fangirl, like I was back when I first heard Nightmare on Black Ops 1 and back in the day, and he just sounds so good. I could go on for hours about how phenomenal he is as a vocalist, because not only does he sound good, he's switching it up on you, Rose. You know what I'm saying? Like, he has multiple vocal styles, multiple things he's doing with his voice here. Like, let's go back to Mattel. He's screaming, has that brutal screaming part, but there's also where he has this angelic voice where it's like, my vinyl skin provides protection. He almost sounds like a country singer. Almost. Matt has always kind of sounded like, had like this country singer-esque vibe to him. But here it's really like, oh, okay, I see where you're coming from. And he's taking influences from a lot of popular country singers. And even on Death, which is part of the fantastic set of songs, G.O.D., G, Ordinary, of course, Death, he sounds like Frank Sinatra. Matt Sinatra in the building, baby. He sounds so good. And I really appreciate what he was going for here from an artistic standpoint. So many feelings of this album are just amplified simply through his voice alone. I felt happy. I felt sad. I felt angry. I felt confused. I felt even empowered, all through his voice. He amplifies not only the feelings and emotions that he wants us to feel, but the already heart-wrenching lyrics and themes of this album.
Fate is taken once again.
Here's where the album truly shines for me. The lyrics and what it all means. The meaning behind this album is so prominent and important during this weird time we find ourselves in. Every day we're hearing about so much chaos, so much pain, so much loss. But that's life, and life is chaotic. This album touches on so many themes such as love, suicide, depression, death, love, what happens after we're gone. Does anything happen? This album brings to mind so much stuff. But the main topic that Life is But a Dream could fall under is the concept of existentialism. According to Oxford.com, existentialism is the philosophical theory or approach which emphasizes the existence of an individual person as a free and responsible agent determining their own development through acts of the will.
What?
If you don't know what that means and are confused, don't worry. I am too. And I read the definition. But it's basically just us dealing with our own mortality, why we're here, what our purpose is, what do we want to do with our own lives while we're here, and how we even bring joy to our own lives. Existentialism is such a broad, over-branching topic. There's no way you could cover it in one single album. But Avenged Sevenfold tried their best, and man, do they do such a phenomenal job bringing out such strong feelings and emotions out of you. I haven't listened to an album that's resonated with me this strongly in such a long time. Cosmic, for example, is a song that brings me to tears every single time I listen to it. Whether I'm sad or not, I will just start crying. I'll start bawling like a little child. It's so crazy. I've never had a song that's done that to me. Like, even when I'm not feeling sad, I'll just like break down. When it gets to that piano part, I feel like my heart sink to my stomach. On those tears, they're ready. They're definitely ready. So many of the lyrics just resonate with me, and so many things that I've been through throughout my life. And it's done so masterfully. Each topic and each theme that they want to touch upon is handled with so much respect and so much dignity. I love it. It's very masterful in how the lyrics are crafted and created. These are a lot of deep and dark themes that they're covering, and it really makes me think about my own life as a human being. I've really thought about the concept of death and life after death ever since my father passed. I've always been inspired to just live my life to the fullest and let people know that I genuinely love and want to be a part of their lives for as long as I can. Life is too short, it's too fleeting, and I just want to enjoy it the best I can. This is what this album reminds me to do. Like, hey, you're gonna kick the bucket soon. Not soon. Whoa, you're gonna kick the bucket soon. It's crazy. Yo, what the heck? You're gonna kick the bucket one day at some point. and you need to live your life to the fullest and just, oh my God, I can't get past it. But you just need to live it with joy and live it to its fullest potential. There's so many lyrics here, such as, Cosmic. I'm gonna go back to Cosmic. Pain, it's found its way back in. How else does it go? I shouldn't have started if I don't know how to finish. I'm so bad at memorizing lyrics. I don't know why. Well, I know Mattel by heart. I know Death by heart because I wanted to sing it. And I would never know Game Over by heart because that is just crazy. And speaking of Game Over, while the album deals with a lot of these dark and deep lyrics, songs on this album are not afraid to have fun. The band is not afraid to have fun and let loose. Game Over, the lyrics goes, changes homeless high school threesome. Bro, threesome. It's so out of nowhere and it's just so funny. It'll catch you off guard. I remember when I first heard the song, I was like, I was like, whoa, what did he just say? What did he say? Yo, it was such a thing that threw me off, but it's just so funny. Ordinary is another one where Matt is taking on the perspective of an AI that wants to be human, and the lyrics goes, I wanna see the things that you see. I wanna be the thing that you be. I wanna be the human you be. And it's so funny because it's just him rhyming B with B and C with C, and it's like, it makes sense. He's a AI robot trying to get his words out, and he's playing around and messing with the words with this whole nice, funny auto-tune thing over it. And it's just so fun and so cool. This album is a reminder that us as humans, this album is a human. This is the most human album I've ever heard in my life. And what I mean by that is it resembles and relates to so much of the human experience deeply. Even though it's dealing with all these deep, introspective topics, why we are born, what is our purpose here, doesn't even matter in the end. They're having fun. They have lyrics in Game Over and Ordinary and Beautiful Morning and Easier that just, remind us that, life is hard, there will be easier days, there will be brighter days, just let loose, have fun, don't take it so seriously. This band has earned their stripes and they deserve to have fun and just play around with one another. It's very relatable in that regard, and I love this album for everything it does. This album is nothing short of a masterpiece. From the way it sounds, to the way it plays, to how Matt sounds, how the band sounds, it is an amazing piece of art that needs to be listened by everyone, in my opinion. Now, is this album free of flaws? No, it's not. There are times where the album comes off as bloated. Some of the genres don't flow as well as it could. And sometimes on the songs, Matt sounds a little low to me. Like the music is louder than the voice. And it just sounds kind of odd. I'm sure there's a reason why. Because a lot of these choices that they made for the album, he's explained, is very purposeful. But I don't know. I'm not here to attack. But what makes a masterpiece is not that it's flawless, no. What makes a masterpiece is how it makes you feel, makes you think about your life and what it means. This album is as introspective as it is retrospective, making us look at our own life, trying to find the goodness in this lifetime while we can. There's a lot of lyrics here that inspire me to just keep going and keep growing as an artist. And this album just resonates so deeply with me. Like I said, this is the most human album we've ever had. I love this album. Life is But a 10 gets a solid 9 out of 10. Great album. I know a lot of people don't like it and rip it apart for its flaws, but honestly, I like it for that. Me and the other people who like this album have a secret handshake and passcode with the band to the glorious treasure that is Life is But a Dream. I highly recommend you give this album a listen if you haven't. And if you have heard it, give it a second chance. For the people who haven't heard it, you cannot just listen to this album and get rid of it. You have to let it sit. You have to let it marinate. You have to let the lyrics sit with you and make you think. This isn't just a one and done. This is like a 5 listen. 5 is kind of crazy, but like a 3 listen, I really, really highly recommend this album. But what do you guys think if you listen to the album? Is it their worst? Is it their best? Do you think I've been listening to Matt talk too much? Have I been brain lost by Avenged Sevenfold? I would love to have a conversation with you all in the comment section down below, because this is not my last video on Life is But a Dream. I have tons of other videos, because I could spend hours just breaking down the lyrics and the meaning behind it all. But I'm going to leave y'all with this review, and thanks for watching. Peace! Till next time.